Hello and welcome to July 24th, where we're reading Ezra chapter 9 through Nehemiah chapter 1. Now, we finish our dealings with our man Ezra here, and we will shift over to Nehemiah at the end of today, who is another Jew from Persia who also wants to help in this time rebuilding the wall, not rebuilding the temple, but still helping out the people in Jerusalem. Now, I will warn you, these chapters, especially Ezra 9 and 10, are pretty controversial because there are some things that happen that are a little bit confusing, and I'll briefly summarize what those are as we go throughout. Now, in Ezra chapter 9, Ezra has returned to Jerusalem safely. God has enabled him to come back. He's inspired him to come back. God's been with him the whole time. But upon his arrival, Ezra sees something terrible. In chapter 9, it is admitted that Israel, the country, has intermarried massively with the peoples of the land. That was a crime, and that was something against the law of God. That was one of the main problems that got them sent off to Babylon in the first place. And so understandably, Ezra is upset. And understandably, all the people who are with them are pretty upset. These people in Israel they've built the temple of God, but now they're doing the exact same sins that got them kicked out and that got the first temple destroyed in the first place. And so they're mad about that. And Ezra is more sorrowful than anything. Ezra goes on to pray a great prayer of confession, national confession, admitting all the crimes that this Israel has done. It so affects these people that in chapter 10, many of the Israelites approach Ezra and say, "We have sinned in marrying these wives. We need to fix this. Let's divorce these wives that we made marriage alliances with and all our children and get rid of them and do something else instead," which is a questionable decision. Ezra agrees with it. Ezra goes through with it, maybe. He at least commands them to make a list of all the people who have sinned and who have intermarried with the peoples of the land. And then we never actually are told whether or not they actually followed through on their promises. I don't know if they divorced their wives or not. They said they would, but they also said they wouldn't marry them in the first place, so I don't really trust this people. Suffice it to say, people have questions on whether Ezra was being righteous or not in commanding that. I don't have time to get into that. You can read some notes on that on the written page if you want to, or you can just ask me separately. I'd be glad to have a conversation about that. Anyway, you get into Nehemiah chapter 1. Nehemiah chapter 1 is much nicer. It's a few years later. Nehemiah is working as a cupbearer to the king in Persia when he gets a message all about the walls of Jerusalem and how it's pretty terrible. They've got a temple over there. They've got a few people in the city, but they don't have walls. They don't have a real city, and it's not safe to live in. That's going to be a problem in Nehemiah's mind. He starts praying about it, and he's going to go and find a solution. But we'll have to leave that for tomorrow, July 25th, where we'll be reading Nehemiah chapters 2 through 4.